All right, and then the big news of this week for free agency was Jaylen Brown signing his supermax extension, 307 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed. He got a trade kicker and all that, so that's what they were hung up on, I guess, in the negotiation process. He is now holds the largest contract in the NBA history, previously held by Bradley Beal, which was signed last year, 2 years ago. Last year, I think. So I don't know. You guys got any thoughts about Jaylen Brown's contract?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of money, a lot of money.
A lot of money.
That it is
307 million with a trade kicker, so that could even go up. And there's no team options, player options, anything. It's 5 years guaranteed. So yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of people have been quick online to say the contract is an overpay and how Jaylen Brown doesn't deserve it, and it is an overpay. That's a lot of money for Jaylen Brown, but also, like, are you going to let him walk? No, you aren't going to do that. I don't think there was a scenario where the Celtics could be like, actually, instead of getting you the max, can we negotiate a little bit? I just don't think that was going to happen. Because Jaylen Brown, he's been part of this team for 7 years now. He makes up the pairing of the star duo of him and Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown had a rough playoffs last year, but I mean, it's Jaylen Brown at the end of the day. He's still super, super good. Just a lot of money, and I mean, we'll have to see how that plays out.
No, I agree with you, Ryan. People seem to forget, because it's just like the recency of his struggles, that he is super, super good. There's a reason he was an All-NBA performer. Like, he earned the contract. The Celtics draft and build a team to pay these guys. Like, they know that they're going to have to pay him the supermax as soon as they made the All-NBA team. This was on the table. They knew that. That's why you do that. And you have Jason Tatum. You surround him with as many All-NBA and All-Star guys as possible if you can do it. And if you have the money, you do it. And I think people just kind of forget that sometimes you got to slightly overpay, but the contracts all catch up. In 3 years, at the end of this contract, I don't think it's going to be egregious or anything.
And also, he was just the best player on the Celtics, like, in the finals, right? In my opinion, he outperformed Jason Tatum in that finals. So, it's the recency bias with last year and kind of how he played against the Heat with his dribbling and all that. Like, I definitely get why people are a little bit surprised, or a lot of it surprised in a lot of ways. But I mean, let's not let that cloud how he's viewed.
Yeah, I think when you go into a negotiation process as a team and a player, you really don't have any choice. I mean, at the end of the day, it's you either you pay him or you let him walk, because he doesn't want he wants his max, and he's going to get it either way. There will be a very cap open team that is looking for a star of that caliber and would do a sign and trade or something to acquire or pay him his money. So if you don't pay him his money and you don't meet his contract demands, you lose an All-NBA performer for nothing. Obviously, it isn't a slight overpay, because that's a supermax contract that's usually reserved for top level players, like top 5 to 10 players. But don't get it twisted. He did everything to earn that contract and the ability to sign that contract. So I have no problem with them paying him 300, like the full 300. I am very intrigued, though, that there was no sort of options on it, because even most players take player options or of some sort on those contracts. So if they want to extend, they can decline and get more money at one point. But maybe he's just said, better for me just to have that fully guaranteed all the way through. So I really had no problem with it. I think you kind of have to do it, otherwise you're kind of screwed from there on, because you're not just pulling a 26 per game score out of nowhere. So I think it's so good, and it also locks them up for the future, which they'll then lock up JT, and they extended Kristaps, so they have these guys locked under contract for a few years, and they acquired a lot of second round picks to move salary off and bring in younger guys, second round guys, to fill out the roster in the future. So
the trade kicker is pretty interesting, I think. If Jaylen Brown's camp were able to leverage that, I think that's a big win for them, because I still think if you ask a lot of people who have, like, whether sources in the league or other GMs around the league, I think a lot of them would still say that, this pairing between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I don't know if it's going to be together for the rest of this 5 years. Like, I still think there's some smoke with Jaylen Brown's future with this team, whether he likes playing in Boston, whether his skill sets with Jason Tatum's are a bit redundant on this team. There's a lot of smoke that have been there about Jaylen Brown. And I think a lot of that is because of the upcoming extension. Whether Jaylen Brown wants to sign the extension or not, well, he did. But even then, even though he did, I still think there is a likely scenario where, year 3, year 4, year 5 of this contract, Jaylen Brown could find himself on a new team. And if so, that trade kicker really boosts his salary. Because if you're set to make 75-ish million kind of around the end of your contract, which is crazy to begin with, if you add like a 10%, 15% trade kicker on top of that, you're looking at like $80 million the last few years of his contract. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. And trade kickers can be unique because depending on how the contract terms, which we obviously as fans do not have, trade kickers can sometimes the salary of the trade kicker will be required to be taken on by the team that he's being traded from, not the team that he's being traded to. For example, Bradley Beal's contract, if his trade kicker was not actually initiated in the trade because it goes over the max contract allowable salary. Okay. So the team had to just take on that as a loss, which is a little fun fact. So depending if he were to be traded next year, the trade kicker would have no effect. So it's more for down the line protection for about 4 to 5 years when the cap is a lot higher. Mm-hmm. And when the salary is when the max allowable salary is higher. So so that's one thing about the trade kicker that's a little unique, which can be a protection for a player that says, hey, if you're going to trade me in 5 years, then you're going to have to pay me an extra 10% of my salary, and 10% of 7, that's an extra 7 to 10 million based on the cap and all that stuff. So it should be interesting.
I mean, that means for Boston that they could be potentially paying all of that money down the road.
Yeah, which in my opinion, I don't think they'll end up trading him. Obviously, I think this shows that they're kind of committed to it, but Boston's front office has shown that they are willing to part with stars that they've paid, not paid, or no matter what, if the right packages come available for real superstar players. So you never
know if Jaylen Brown or someone's going to get upset. Like, I don't want to. It sounds stupid, but at this point, it's just like people will ask out.
Yeah, you never know. You literally never know. One other thing that I think was kind of interesting, that was just funny. Speaking of trades, when Bradley Beal's comments, I don't know if you guys saw that. He said about Phoenix. He said when he found out that Phoenix was a trade destination that was interested, he said, "How is that even possible? They're trading D-Book for me." And everyone was like, man, they traded D-Book for you, bro.
Why they traded Book?
Yeah, he said, why they traded Book for me.
I like Bradley Beal a lot, but I hate to tell good people bad news. And I'm sorry, Bradley Beal, but that's not going to happen.
You are not at that. Yeah, I thought it was funny, too, because I was thinking in my head, I'm like, he had a no-trade clause. He has to approve the package.
Yeah.
Before he could get traded. So
he's acting surprised.
Oh man.
So he just lied, probably.
Yeah. You guys saw that when Jaylen Brown got his extension, Grant Williams and Robert Williams
FaceTimed him, but he didn't.
FaceTimed him. Oh, so he's moving different now. They switched up on him.
Love it.
That's hilarious. I did want to highlight one thing that I thought was really awesome that Jaylen Brown spoke about. He did not have his press conference for his extension signing at the Celtics facility. He had it at a community center that he helps fund, and he spoke about how one of his main goals with getting this extension is because he said that nobody needs that amount of money, and he said that he is committed to investing into the Boston community's low-income areas, and trying to invest and build up minority-owned businesses and small businesses that have been failing in the communities. I think his exact quote was that he wants to build Black Wall Street all over again, but in the surrounding Boston areas, which I thought was awesome. Shout out to you, Jaylen Brown. That's super, super dope. I love when players really get involved in the communities around them. So really, really happy about that.
Yeah, that's great for Boston. I mean, Marcus Smart was also known for doing a lot of that within his community. And now that he's not in Boston anymore, it's cool to see other players kind of stepping up a little bit and taking on those responsibilities. And yeah, for years now, like everything that you hear about Jaylen Brown, his character, his personality is just like, there's nothing but good things you hear about him. And I also saw that tweet that got sent out about where he's holding his press conference. And yeah, Jaylen Brown, he seems like a great dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we can get into our next piece here.